Alright. What is up, everyone? How y'all doing? Here is Garcia's HomePod. That is not the correct name, but when they see it, they'll know that's theirs. Wait. You guys saw that, right? Wow, we're starting the stream off with an interesting one already, huh? Okay, well, I thought this one was no power, but this is not the usual case of no power. It is clearly turning on, but then it almost immediately shuts back off. I'm not actually sure what to make of that, but I have a feeling based on their original email to us, you know, they said it was on an outlet with a lamp that was acting funky, so it might have had a power surge. So I wonder if the why is it so dark in here? There we go. Let's pop on a bricked logic board with a different display here. Before we get any further into this, I do think it's the power supply, but I don't want to waste our time if it ends up being a logic board issue and we have to replace that, and you know, we got to talk to them before we do that. That's a significantly more expensive repair than we were anticipating here, and that would be our luck. Though we don't often specifically say in our replies in our emails that it's the diode that fails, but we felt pretty confident that time, and we were like, nah, it's not the power outlet, it's not a power surge or anything. It's the usual diode in there. Interesting. This one doesn't even turn on. Huh. So you mean to tell me is it not powering on at all now? That's really weird, but I do think it's a power supply issue. Based on all of that, so that's good. That means our logic board is probably still just fine. And that's what I'm usually most concerned about. Where's my alcohol? This stuff. Making a mess. There we go. All right, different power supply. Let's see if that makes any difference. All right, it's turning on. It's staying on. Was that it? Just the power supply? Weird for it to kind of have that sort of failure.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info, check the Home app associated with this HomePod.
There you go. Alright, we don't have any offset to deal with. Just need to replace the power supply. If I really cared enough, I could figure out what on the power supply here broke, but with how many power supplies that we do have just sitting around here, it's more effective with our time and resources here to just swap that power supply out and use that other one for parts if needed in the future. So, before we just willy-nilly slap this back together, I did notice something worth taking this all the way apart for. That's the 46K dated Schottky diode there on the amplifier. That's what I expected to be the problem before we got this. Normally that's the part that fails and causes no power outright, but this one was a strange case. Something happened with that power supply board, and well, surprisingly that diode is still running just fine for now, but we are going to get that replaced so that they don't pay all that money and wait all this time for us to do all this work and neglect to replace a component known to fail and cause more common issues. So let's do some diligence. Oh, speaking of diligence, didn't take all the screws out. There we go. Alright, let's get this thing back together. Alright, let's see. I still see a white circle.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Yes.
I'm having...
Okay. There we go. Up next. We've got Matt with some bad filter caps. Alright, so you might be asking yourself, you might be asking me, why is Nick sad? Why are we fixing HomePods while we're sad? Well, let me tell you. After I unbox this HomePod. Right, so I'll just give you the quick backstory real quick. You know, a few months ago, had my 1986 Nissan 300ZX. Owned that thing for like 10 years. Put countless hours, blood, sweat, tears into it. Early January of this year, someone ran a red light, wasn't paying attention, T-boned me, totaled the car. Settled with insurance, and replaced it with a 1989 right-hand drive, straight from Japan, Nissan Fairlady Z 300ZX, twin turbo, right-hand drive. Let that sink in. One of my dream cars. Like, I had to go through hell, but I ended up with one of my dream cars. It needed some maintenance. It specifically needed a timing belt replaced because it had just hit 120,000 miles. And it's pretty similar to my old Z, but it's different enough that I'm gonna take it to a professional, take it to a shop and get them to fix it, get them to do the maintenance for me. First time I'd ever trusted another shop to work on one of my cars. And so I took it to this shop in Everett. You know, it's hard enough to find mechanics these days that do any decent work that you can trust, let alone shops that work on older cars like this. And well, there's this specialty shop up in Everett that happens to be named after the freaking car. And I was like, you know, I've known about the shop for like 10 years. For as long as I've owned a Z, I knew that shop was around. And I've always wanted to go there and like maybe even get to use their services just to have the experience, and like, you know, I'm sure they do great work. So, you know, the time finally came. I got a car that I wasn't comfortable with doing the timing belt on, and so I hit them up. They said, yeah, of course, it'll take us about a week to get it done. It'll cost about this much. Drop it off. So I went and dropped it off, and a few phone calls and unexpected other repairs needed, and $7,000 freaking dollars later, we've got a fully freshened up 1989 Nissan Fairlady Z right-hand drive, straight from Japan. They call me, I pay up, finally able to pick up the car after a few weeks. And I get to driving it for not even a day, and I start to notice some issues. First of all, the coolant hose for the radiator that they had replaced as part of the service had been shoved right up against the crank pulley. So it very quickly rubbed a hole through the radiator hose and developed a coolant leak. Not cool. I have wrinkles on my brain, so I was also lucky enough that I had accidentally bought a set of replacement silicone, whole replacement silicone hose kit for that car, and ended up not even doing it. So I had the hose I needed on hand, and I went ahead and just replaced it myself. And then I noticed this strange noise coming from the timing cover. Shouldn't be doing that. So I wiggle it around a little bit, get it fixed. I give the shop a call. I'm like, hey, you guys kind of messed this job up. What's going on? And they're like, oh, we're sorry. We'll send you a replacement timing cover and refund you a couple $100 for, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever, fine. Cool beans. I go ahead and, proceed to drive the car for the next few days. Maybe you caught our live stream a few days ago. We replaced the brake pads on a live stream. And not even less than a week after picking the car up, I'm out on a cruise with my little baby daughter. And in stop-and-go traffic, the car breaks down on us on the highway. So I managed to limp it into this middle closed off lane that splits the exit lane and the main road. And I find a chunk of metal from the engine on the ground. That chunk of metal, if you look at the engine here, goes right here under the crank. That's what you use to line up the crank sprocket to time the engine. And then I noticed the timing cover was pretty pushed out. That was weird, right? Why is it doing that? So I get the car towed home. I take another look. Lo and behold, freaking cam sprocket had broken clean off the camshaft. What else I notice? There's one bolt holding the timing belt, the timing cover backing to the cylinder head. The other one's missing. A shop that specializes in these cars in particular goofed up routine maintenance so catastrophically that it destroyed my engine beyond repair. This is an interference engine, so if you didn't know that, what that means, that basically means the pistons need to be timed to move up and down properly with the cams and the valves. Otherwise, the valves could open at the wrong time while the pistons are coming up and they'll smash into each other. Well, when one of the cam gears snaps off, there's no longer any rotating of one of those cams, and thus a whole row of lifters, which will of course result in a number of cylinders smacking into them if any of them are open. So that was good. I got to enjoy my dream car for maybe a month in total, before I paid a shop $7,000, a specialty shop, a shop that specializes in these cars, mind you, $7,000 to destroy the thing. And I'm not gonna name them because they're asking to get the car back on Monday and take a look. I'm gonna give them a chance to see what they, if they want to make this right before I, start really blasting them and putting their name out there. Because they'll, but at the same time, it's just, these are amateur mistakes. It's like what they messed up that I saw before that happened, and then the results. I spent so much money buying that car, and then I spent so much more money having them fix it. And then it promptly blows itself up. That's the first and last time I ever take my car to a shop. How can these guys not do a timing belt without grenading an engine? And I can manage to convert one of these cars from an automatic to a manual transmission and put a turbo on it without a problem. First try. In a week. In my free time. With a baby. You hear her back there. That's what I gotta deal with while I'm working. Anytime I'm doing anything, I gotta... Yeah, she's doing that. She's gotta be involved. Which is great. I want her to be involved in the car stuff so then she can be a big car nerd like me. Then she can swap my motors and do all my maintenance instead of shops that don't even know how to do it. I really don't. I don't have the energy for this. Like, 5 or 10 years ago, if this kind of stuff happened to me, I'd be kicking doors down, breaking necks, setting things on fire. But like, I've barely recovered from this car accident back in January. This car was my rebound. Like, this car was like, yeah, life is going good again. Like, life is all right. I shit you not, I'm just gonna have to open up my own, like, Nick's Cars, Coffee, and Computers, you know? Come get your coffee. Ooh, Cars, Computers, Coffee, and Cosmetics. That way my wife can be there. She's getting her nail license, so you and your wife can pull up to Nick's Cars, Coffee, Computer, and Cosmetics. Your wife can get her nails and hair done. You can get your car's oil changed by someone that knows how to frickin' do it. We'll fix your HomePod while you're there. Get some coffee while you wait. And you're all set. You're good to go. You don't need anything else. Nick's Cars, Coffee, Computer, and Cosmetics. Stop on by. We'll fix what you got. We'll help you out. seriously, these days it really does feel like if you want something done right, do it yourself or get screwed. All right. I'm ready. Depression. I'm ready. Depression. That's a SpongeBob reference for you boomers. It's okay. I'm a zoomer. Or a millennial. Or whatever the fuck those things are these days. I don't get any of that generationist. Generationalist. There we go. I don't get any of that shit anyways. Old people gonna be old people can be young, and young people can be old, and young people gonna be young. Just try to be a decent fucking person. And maybe not, completely destroy somebody's dream car, maybe. Everyone left. No one wants to hear it. Hi, sir. If you don't mind who you do that for, this HomePod is for Matt. We fix anybody that's willing to pay for it. Let's see how much it costs. If you go to our website, nixfix.com, that's in the upper right hand of the corner of the screen there.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Beautiful. Death farts be gone. We've now got Chris's HomePod here that needs fixed. It's got the classic no power issue. Hey Mohammed, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really understand what exactly you're asking. I do apologize. You know what I can't wait for? Like, just straight up brain to brain communication instantly with anybody across the world. Forget about translating and incorrect translations. I want direct brain impulses going to the guy we're trying to talk to, so that way they can just pulse me and I pulse them back and we just instantly know what we're talking about. We can help each other out. None of this language barrier shit. Okay, we've got Chris's HomePod here with no power. Clearly not powering on. Let's get that fixed. You mean you're busy and I'm telling you to keep your mouth shut? No, Mohammed, I just have no idea what you're saying. I don't know what is worst to fix it means. If you want to elaborate, I'm happy to help. But no, that simply means I just don't know what you're saying. Now, if I want you to keep your mouth shut, I'm the kind of guy that's direct. I'll tell you to shut up. But I think the last time I used shut up, I think the only time I ever used shut up is just It's like a joke. I find telling somebody to shut up pretty offensive. I mean, if they were being serious about it. But no, I'm not telling you by any means to shut up. I just have no idea what you're saying. We're here to hear you out and try to help you out. What I was saying, I was just rambling about me and my smooth brain only not being able to not being able to learn. And I would rather just have basically an Ethernet cable plugged into your brain so that way I could understand what it is you're saying. Because I would assume, and I apologize if I am incorrectly assuming, but I would assume you're either learning English or, English isn't your primary language, so you're either using a translator or just using what you know. But it would obviously be better for you if you could tell me what you're asking in your native language. But then if I try to translate that, there could be things lost in translation. So I just want a freaking RJ45 connector in the back of my head, so I can just plug my brain into the Ethernet switch and dial into your brain, and we can just blast what we're thinking to each other. Language free. How in the hell would that work? Don't ask me. I have no idea. Yeah, well, I mean, if you don't want me going by your name, I will, but typically people, live streamers will refer to the chatter's name when they're talking to them. In this case, you're the only one here, so I guess I don't need to mention your name, but if you want, I can use your last name if that's preferred. If you want, I can use your first name. If you don't want any names, man, that's perfectly cool. What I do really care about is what you were originally asking about. Okay, we got the amplifier out. Let's take a quick close look at that diode's date code. It is 46K. Okay, let's get rid of it. I mean, I didn't see anyone fix HomePods before. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, we were, before we came along, there wasn't really anybody fixing these. For the most part, nobody knew how to fix most of the issues anyways. But we figured it out. We found a competitive price point to charge for our repair services that ends up being cheaper than replacing the HomePod, and it's a better value because if we get inside of it, that gives us a chance to make sure everything inside is either within spec or replaced if it's known to fail. So you're gonna get most longevity out of your HomePod possible getting it fixed, and it's gonna be the cheapest route to getting it replaced, or even if you don't have a HomePod at all, it's usually the cheaper way to get in to HomePods, because you can buy you can buy a broken HomePod off eBay. If you can get it for cheap enough, have the seller ship it directly to our shop, and then plus the repair and then shipping back to you, more often than not, it'll end up being cheaper than just buying a working HomePod. And you've got the peace of mind that it's got fresh refurbished parts. It's got my 1-year repair warranty, so if it breaks again, we'll take care of you. We know how to do things around here. And one of the big motivators behind me, starting this whole business was, nobody else was out there fixing HomePods, as you pointed out. So that was a big opportunity. That looked like a huge opportunity. Like, a lot of people need this stuff fixed. Seems pretty easy to me to do it. Why not? Beautiful. Alabama. You fix laptops on the side? Yeah. That's how it all starts. This isn't our main job. This is just what we got to do in our free time to feed the baby, This doesn't keep the lights on. This doesn't pay much bills. But it makes life a little easier. And boy, is it fun to solve all of the different challenges along the way. Almost forgot to screw the amplifier in there. Glad we caught it before we put the subwoofer in. Alright. Folks, that's about all of the energy I've got for today. Gotta save up the rest for Monday when I gotta take that thing down to the shop that destroyed it and rip them a new one. And I gotta save some to take care of that. Alright, we've got some funny no sound business here. Let's give it a quick reset and make sure that we're good. And there you go. Don't even need to worry about it. Are you gonna complain though? Yeah, there we go. Alright, hope you all enjoyed.